here we go. Welcome to Cloudy Game Reviews, episode number 3. I am your host, Jeff. With me, I've got LoFi, we got Stadia Pro Gaming, and over there, we got Mayne Games. Unfortunately, PurpleHaze is out today. Some technical difficulties, and Ray, of course, is still down with the vid. So make sure you tweet him out some love. Tell him that we love him and that we miss him, and we can't wait to get back and smash him with our blue buses.
We love you, Ray.
On Saturday nights.
Yeah, man, we miss you, bro.
Big shout out to everybody who's already in the chat. I see a bunch of people in the chat. Welcome. Thank you for all being here. Make sure you subscribe to Stadia Dosage on the YouTube and you follow us all on the Twitter. Links to all of us are on the panel are down in the description, so make sure you do that. Stadia 1000, the 24-hour live stream and giveaway event was amazing. I know most of you were there. Most of you participated. And if you weren't on the camera, if you weren't live, you were in the chats. I hit as many chats as I could. Some people stayed up late to make sure they checked out all the streams. LoFi?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Somebody was tired. Someone was tired.
Someone was tired. Someone was curled up with their blankie. And
he fired up that hype train is what he did. He saw the chat on fire. He said, these boys can wait.
Yeah.
Oh, man, dude, the chat was beast. Thank you, guys.
All good things come to us that waited. And we did. And we waited. So there you
and
go.
Waited.
And waited. And waited. And waited. There we go. Don't forget the Stadia Community Championships is coming up. The top 16 are going to take place in, I believe, 4 games. And I believe it's on August 26th. I don't know if that's been officially announced yet as the official date. I think they're still figuring out, logistic. That's got to be a logistical nightmare. I just know what it's like to try to herd these little cats.
Well, so many people are on the leaderboards, and I just have to give a little shout out to Doc and Will Sony. They both have made the list. So
yes,
good job to you.
Congratulations
guys.
to everybody making the list. Now, there may be, if you're on the bubble, you may still get in if somebody can't do the 26th, right? It's that's a Saturday, right? That's next Saturday, or next Sunday or whenever it is. Or whatever. So if you have, if you got plans, if you got to work, you got to do something, you can't make it. Maybe they'll, if you're like 17, maybe they'll bump you in. I don't know. I'm not part of it. I'm just making shit up. What do I know? But the grand prize, $500 American.
Ooh, that's good cheddar.
Do you know what that is in Canada?
Is that $600?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Something like that. And $250 for the runner-up. So we're gonna. Good luck to everybody, but that's not why we're here. Why are we here? We are here. We are Cloudy Game Reviews. We are here to talk about this week's game. And if you don't know, this week's game is Journey to the Savage Planet. Welcome to the Pioneer Program. As its newest recruit, the newest recruit of Kindred Aerospace. Your job is to determine if the planet ARY26 is fit for humans and streamers. You may be short on equipment and experience, but you'll figure it out. All right, LoFi, let's play the trailer.
Woo!
Hey there, it's me again, Martin Tweed, President and CEO of Kindred Aerospace. In the last year, Journey to the Savage Planet has launched over 1 million happy explorers into space. Their mission was simple: explore a new world, catalog the flora, fauna, and send the data back to Kindred HQ. It's a task that requires a great deal of jumping, shooting, scanning, and a little bit of filing paperwork. Some have been very successful. Oh yeah! Others have been, a little underwhelming. We've spent the last several months preparing something new, exclusive to Stadia. We call it Journey to the Savage Planet, Employee of the Month Edition. This time, we're adding all of the super sweet bonus content we added after the first rockets launched, like photo mode. And we're even including a brief stop-off on Planet DLC 1, where you'll get to meet our distinguished competitors, Viper Industries.
Viper.
So don't miss this final rocket. Get out there, bring a friend, explore, see the world. Only the very best of the best will get a chance to partake in this new round of space exploration. This time, we're sending you with everything we've got. All the bells and whistles, all the trimmings, all of it. And who knows, maybe one day your picture will be hanging next to mine. Journey to the Savage Planet, Employee of the Month Edition, coming soon to Stadia.
That is right. It was a Stadia Pro game released in January of 2021, and that's when I first played it, and I loved it. When I found out this is what we were reviewing, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that game. Because like with most games, I played it for a bunch of hours, and then it fell to my backlog of shame. But I did pick it back up once I knew we were reviewing it today, and jumped right in where I left off. It's a great little game. William, what are your thoughts on this game?
It's beautiful, man. I love the art style. I love the humor more than anything. The game doesn't take itself very seriously. There's so many gags and punchlines. The little commercials and videos are extremely entertaining and funny at the same time. The progression of the game is very different than a lot of games are. I've really enjoyed myself in the small bit that I've jumped into it. Absolutely.
We're going to get to Mayne's review of the game in a minute. LoFi, any comments?
Yeah, man, it's one of those games that like it looks like kind of like a kid game or something, like at first looks, but it's really like it's a grown-up game that can make you feel like a kid again.
Yes,
that's a good point. I like that.
It is.
I like that because
I love the art style. I love those games like them, Grime, that other one I can't think of at the top moment. I like that funky art style, like that when they're kind of everything's over the sort of the top. Everything is sort of, and it was made by Stadia Games and Entertainment. So,
I like that the game wants you to die over and over again to learn. I like that as well.
The only way to learn. The only way to learn. All right, Mayne, do you want to dive into your review? Links to both his review and Purple's review will be in the description for you to read on later.
Yeah, actually, right now, I'm actually currently playing the game a little bit because I wanted to dive back in even more so I can give more thoughts as I was kind of like going through it. And I will say that, I saw this game not long ago. What I mean by not long ago was when it released, I believe, I think it come to Switch or some other platform before around, not this version per se, but another version, and that caught my attention. And I just recently kind of like got into it after checking it out. And of course, we were going through the next games that we were going to review, and we came across this game. And honestly, it gave me, for those who may know, it gave me a lot of like, at first glance, somewhat No Man's Sky kind of vibes a little bit. As far as the color palette and the way that the worlds are designed, and that some of the flora and fauna are there. Like some of the items here are very, very like familiar to people who may have played the game, are very, you could say, reminiscent. And I'm like right now I'm playing the game, and I love the combat. The combat is really, really solid. For those who like FPS shooters, or they like first person shooters, you're gonna feel kind of really, really in your element. And it does a great job of mixing a lot of different things together to make this unique kind of package that we end up playing. So you have all the colors, you have this planet that you're on, you have the first person elements, you have some survival elements, you have some some RPG elements. You have all these different things that are coming together to make this unique package that I think is really, really
don't
fun
forget the infomercials. Like that adds a whole other element.
That part is really, really great too, because it adds some comedic kind of like elements to it to break up the monotony of some of the other things that you may be doing. Other people are like, oh, I'm just going around, I'm just shooting and crafting and grabbing things, but there's other things in the game that really do break up a lot of that stuff and make it entertaining and really, really funny. And like the grow, I'm using the grow can, which is pretty much like this bait that you can use. There's a grapple seed that you can use, like all these different things that you can throw, like a binding bile, which allows like kind of like stick stuff to the floor and makes it kind of like as a slow effect. There's so many different things in this game that really do lend itself to people who may not even really be interested in a lot of these genres singularly, but if you put them together, it may grab somebody's attention. Like, oh wait, okay, so I may not like first person shooters that much, but I can dig this. You know what I mean? And I think that it does it a lot. I think Jeff, right? You said you're not really a first person shooter.
I am not. But
However,
I'm not. But I love this game.
See,
it's
so,
not a game.
yeah.
If I have to precisely target at something, right? I'm not going to hit that broad side of the bar. Right. You've all seen
Right. This one has like a lock-on system.
Yeah, so it has some it has some aim assist and things like that that you can use to help you, which is really, really friendly. Of course, I take it off. That's just for me because it snaps too fast for me, so I take it off. But there's a lot of different things here that if you were like first glance for the average person or for the person who's pretty much like pro gamer, so to speak, quote unquote, you probably wouldn't exactly pay attention to this. Like really, if you look at the art style and things like that, it's not supposed to. It's not like off the top like graphically intense or nothing like that. But I think that if you give it a chance, you'll definitely come enchanted by it. It's one of those games where it's really, really cool and really, really fun. Also a great game that you could jump in and jump out. It's not something you don't have to spend too much time in it. You can be on a break or whatever and jump in and collect some stuff, shoot some stuff, get a jetpack or upgrade your equipment, and you're back out. And I think that's another cool thing that people aren't really paying attention to a lot of the time is that people are getting more and more busy, and a lot more of our attention is being drawn in other places. So games like these do really well to say, hey, you don't have to sit here for 8 hours and play this game. You can jump in for 15 minutes and have a good time.
I played it back in January, February of 21. I hadn't played it again until a couple of weeks ago when we picked this game. I dove right back. Oh yeah, right.
See?
Yeah. And I was just having some fun playing it. I was like,
one thing this game did extremely well is make resource collecting a priority. Yes. A lot of games, they put the resources in your face and you can kind of just kind of bypass that. But they really make you want to collect those resoures, and it kind of makes it rewarding when you do to get those upgrades and stuff.
Yes,
right. It's kind of like a little skill tree.
It is, and it of course, not to sound punny in a sense, but it gamifies the whole the whole skill tree and collecting. It has another way of making it seem as if it's part of the game, but it feels different in a way, and it makes it actually still fun that you're going through this game and doing something that in other games you already automatically know you're going to do anyway, but it somehow makes it fun, and it makes it interesting in how you approach it and what the gains out of it. The return on investment to me is worth it. The gameplay loop is really, really fun.
Yeah, and the story's interesting as well. You're on a planet that may or may not be inhabitable, who may or may not have been visited before. And
you're working for the fourth best space exploration corporation. Fourth best.
Why would you want to start out at number one? You need the growth. You start at 3 or 4, and then you progress through your career, and then eventually you get and work with Elon. You don't just start your first job working with Elon. Right. You got to start at the 4th best, and then you work your way up.
They drop you off on a planet and tell you have to find fuel to get back home, and you have to do all this research before you do it. And it's like, oh yeah, plus you owe them money for it.
Yeah. So you're an indentured servant kind of to these guys.
Absolutely.
And the more you die, the more they poke fun at you every time you respawn. It's kind of an amazing experience. It draws you in. And
one of my favorite things about like what you just said, and it's kind of a spoiler, but not really. There's like this AI that you have as a companion, and they're supposed to be teleporting you, but the AI eventually tells you that they're just killing you on one end and then like making you again with your DNA on the other side.
Yeah, they're basically copying your molecular structure and repositioning it. But to do that, they destroy you each time. So every time this thing moves you, you die.
It always has some kind of funny quip or something like that after, or like when you upgrade, there's these eggs or something that you can eat to upgrade, and every time the AI has something interesting to say, something like to the effect of, "There's good news and there's bad news. The good news is that your bone density is topped up, but the bad news is that we had to do so with tumors." So it's like you're like, wait, what?
Right, like the first time you eat it, it's like normally she tells you what's going on around you, but the first time you eat that, she doesn't say anything until after you eat it, and she's like, "Ooh, you're just gonna put that in your mouth?"
Right. It's really, really funny, really, really cool. I really enjoyed the game, and it's really interesting because this game is not one of those where it's like it's not too in depth. It's straightforward. It's to the point. So where it's like for me, my review of it isn't gonna. There's no need to go into into a thesis or any in-depth analysis of it. What you see is what you get, and it's very fun and straightforward, and they don't waste any time getting you into the action. You start the game, you see a little bit of a clip, you can bypass it if you want. You don't. That's another thing. Is you don't have to just accept all that stuff and say, okay, well, I'm going to sit here and watch everything. If you want to do that, that's fine. But if you want to just get straight to it, they allow you to do that too. You can cut off the infomercial. You can skip the cutscene if you want and get straight to it. And I think that's really, really fun and really, really cool. And a lot of games that don't really do that as much, they're starting to now. But I really appreciate how they appreciate our time and they respect your time. And they say, hey, listen, we understand. Let's just get you out of here and let's get you into the fold.
That's very, very, very true. In the very beginning, let me explain my first experience with the game. I booted it up. I got in there, and you start on the ship that's already crashed or on the ground on the planet.
I found the inside of the ship a little confusing.
No. That's my point. But they don't waste your time. So like, there's a cutscene playing, right?
Yeah.
Well, I stood there and watched that little screen for like 2 minutes, and then was like, well, all right, I want to start playing. I turn and then start walking into the ship, and there's more screens of the same thing playing. Like, I appreciated that little that little thing, because I was staring at that little screen for like 2 minutes, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna just bypass that so I can get into some meat of the game. But then I don't know. And they don't hold your hand. No. They suggest what to do. It's up to you to figure out how to get it done,
which I like.
Yes, I like that as well.
That.
So
one question for you two before we continue. I have yet to try out the multiplayer. Have you guys checked that out, and what do you think of it?
I have yet to check that out, and maybe that's a good segue into possibly getting that set up, because I would love to do that, of course.
Yeah.
I think that would be really, really fun. At the time, I don't believe I really had noticed that there was multiplayer until I actually got into the game. I didn't hear about any updates or anything like that. Yeah. When I saw the game, it was just like I saw the game in passing, but then when I logged in and I booted it up, and I was like, wait a minute, there's multiplayer.
Yeah,
I thought that would be really, really interesting, and I'm down to try that out.
Yeah. Absolutely. It surprised me to see it, because when you think of multiplayer games, this is not on the list.
Right.
I mean,
correct.
So did you guys get to the part where you saw the Meat Buddy infomercial?
No, I hadn't made it that far, I don't think.
Where is it? Is it the one?
I didn't watch a lot of the commercials. I know you're a big fan of the commercials.
They are great.
Was it the one with the grinder?
It was kind of like a grinder, and then you put all this meat into this thing, and you push a button, and it makes you a Meat Buddy. There's actually a thing in the ship for you to make a Meat Buddy. I haven't been able to make it yet, but supposedly you can make a Meat Buddy. It looks like Elmo made out of meat.
That's amazing.
Man. I'm gonna call him Sam and Ella.
But no, my experience with this game was that when I was waiting for my controller to come in the mail, when I got the Stadia controller, everybody that knows me knows my internet sucks. So like I was playing with like an Xbox controller, like an Xbox One controller, and I really love first person shooters, but I could not for the life of me play one of those with this controller because of the lag. And there was any like of the point and click games, things like that ran really smoothly for me. Lag was negligible, but you get into first person shooters and it's over.
Yep.
But this game, Journey to Savage Planet, I was able to play that because it's not, even though it's first person and you are shooting, like Jeff was saying, it's not like super hardcore. Like it's tolerable, especially like for new players. And if you're playing Stadia and you have like a connection where you're like, oh, I couldn't play that game. No, you could probably get through it.
Oh, you absolutely you can.
But once I got the Stadia controller, it was like butter. I was like, it was life changing. I started playing Far Cry 6. Kind of put this one down for a minute.
Yeah, it does feel much better on the controller for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say how much did connecting the controller through the Wi-Fi helped, or whatever.
Oh man, it was like night and day. It's like I'm playing, like I'm connected to a console.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautiful.
What's going on, Winstar?
Yeah, big shout out to everybody in the chat. Too many, which is great. Too many to name, but welcome to everybody here. But I didn't have as many Stadia friends back in January of 21, so I didn't know and I didn't play any multiplayer. But yeah, I'd be down to for some multiplayer action.
Yeah,
even offline. We don't have to stream everything in our lives.
That's true. We absolutely be down with that.
And we don't have to run around with a camera and film our families and every stupid thing that we do all day.
Verily.
Sometimes just playing a game with your friends offline.
I'm down with that. And I think for my process is a little bit more than likely like everybody else's, right? When doing these games and playing these games, it's not at the forefront of my mind, right? My goal when I jump into a game that I'm reviewing is, okay, let me get in here and just sit down with it and take some time with it. And oftentimes that, of course, includes or involves me doing it solo, much like more than likely everyone else. And then it's like after that, it's like, okay, well, once I've got my idea, my initial impression of the game, then it's like after the fact, there's any DLC or any other content that I could, experience with other people, then yeah, I'm absolutely willing to go back and check it out. But you're right, though. Also, Jeff, we don't have to put up everything and stream everything and whatnot. So I agree with that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that I got this on Pro and I claimed it. But my situation is probably very similar to everybody else's, man. I have a backlog of shame that's crushing my spirit, man. I need more time.
You like to finish games.
I do. I like to actually finish a title.
Before moving on to the next one.
Yeah, and it's so difficult. But now that I've checked this game out and I put like 4 hours into it, I'm going to complete this one, I think. And to find out that it has multiplayer, man, I'm totally down. There's so many games that skip me by, and this is one that I'm definitely going to try to complete just for the story alone and the little cutscenes. I don't know. I think they're amazing.
Yeah, I think that for this one, I will say that initially, right, because I've played other games that I would consider similar to this game in a lot of ways, it didn't really grab me initially the way that I thought it would or I was expecting it to. But this is one of those games where you have to really, if it's not for you, it's not for you, and I get that. But I think for me, I had to sit with it a little bit more. I don't really dismiss things so quickly, as quickly as others may. So I even if it's rubbing me the wrong way, I'll continue to make sure that I can pretty much confirm what I'm feeling. If I don't get a good vibe from it, I say, okay, well, let me just continue to see if maybe things change, because you may hit a certain plot point, you may hit a certain battle, collect a certain item, upgrade a certain thing, and it changes your perspective on it. And so I gave it more time. And originally I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, but the more that I played it, it really started to sink its hooks in.
Well, one thing that I walked away from the game, the thought I had is that, wow, they didn't punish me for sucking.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate as a limited gamer.
Yeah.
They rib you a little bit and say, those funny lines and stuff, but they don't punish you. You don't lose a bunch of stuff and have to go back to square one if you die. But because it is kind of survival, a survival-esque type of game as well. Just really interesting.
Yep. As a limited gamer, I appreciate that because I die early and I die often. So I do appreciate that in a game.
So one thing that was crazy to me is like this is one of the first games I really got into on Stadia, and like I didn't know anybody in the community. I haven't read any of the news articles. I didn't pay attention to any of that. I was going to try Stadia for myself, and figure it out. And I got so deep into this game. I got to the point where like I could. Because there's a certain point where, like, if you haven't beat the game already, you can either complete the game or branch off into the DLC.
Yes,
and it's kind of your option. And I was just getting into the DLC. Did any of you guys make it into the DLC portion?
I haven't. I've only played 3 to 4 hours of the game, but I do realize, Lo-Fi, that when you get to the last area, you get locked off from the rest of the game until you complete the area. So for all of you that are out there collecting resources and you're getting ready to make sure that you've completed what you want to before you go to the last level. Not that you can't get out of it, but you have to complete the level before going back. So keep that in mind. You'll be locked out a little bit. But how did you find the DLC? Like I said, I plan on playing through it. I just haven't made it there yet.
A1, really good stuff. But yeah, the whole reason I was talking about how, I was just gonna try Stadia for myself. I got so into this game, I started like getting interested in who the developers were. So I started looking into that, and I find out about Stadia's games and entertainment. So when I find out about this, I have no idea that it had shut down. So I'm just reading over days, maybe a week or two. I'm like, Stadia games and entertainment. I'm thinking it. So like suddenly 2 weeks later, I read that it had closed, and I was like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to make a second part to the game that I'm like, that's my jam right now. But they are. It's a possibility. They're going to make a second one. They were able to retain their IP. It wasn't like a nasty breakup.
Oh,
so
nice.
That was good to hear.
So you're saying there's a chance for more story?
I'm saying that everybody from the development team's back together, and they're under a different name. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they're working on this.
So, LoFi, what would you like to see from a next installment? Would you like to see them change any aspect or any of the mechanics, or what are your thoughts?
Maybe or go to another more in depth,
or go to another planet. Maybe go.
What if you could go to multiple planets?
Or go or move to the third best exploration company.
Yes.
You've graduated. You've been promoted. You've got a new opportunity at the third best, and now you get to explore multiple planets.
Because of our discovery in the first game, now we get to start our own exploration company.
Hey. And maybe we're number 6 and we got junk equipment. I don't know. But it sounds interesting, though. It does. It would be cool to go through another organization. And, I know they added it with the DLC. Is that correct? LoFi?
What's that?
They added another corporation in the DLC?
Yeah, Viper. But they hint at Viper through the whole game. So...
And that's their direct competitor or something? Are they number 3? Or
I think they're number 3 or they're number 5. I can't remember off the top of my head, because I ended up coming back to the beginning of the game when we decided to do this show.
Right.
I think that they could do some interesting things with that if they decide that they want to continue, even if it's other expansions to move and progress through the ranks to become, let's say that the journey is to become the number 1 company there. They can do for Journey 2, they can turn the E and Journey into 3 because they made it to the third best, and then maybe they could do something incorporate 2 for the next one, and just things like that to make it kind of like known and make it playful and fun, to let everybody know that we're rising through the ranks, y'all. Like, we making it. Don't sleep on us.
Yeah, like my first impression of the game was like, this is like I felt like it was something that like Adult Swim made this game or something.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm looking at this commercial right now, and this one dude is like, his legs are like jelly, and he's like flipping he has like no kneecaps, and his legs and elbows and arms are just like those wacky waving inflatables. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
The corporations remind me of that other game that come out a few years back from the people who made New Vegas. They come out with an RPG that was space.
One of my favorite RPGs actually recently, The Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds, that's what it is. Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
That's what
That's
what the art animation of this game kind of reminds me of. The little like the world elements kind of feel like that a little bit.
It does. It does.
Yeah, I really like that game, and I'm digging this one as well. If they could do something like that, have a few planets, upgrade, travel up the thing. Yeah, man.
Yeah, to plant their flag, so to speak.
Yeah.
just like they did with this one. That would be good. I'll be down for that.
I think they need.
Absolutely.
I think no more planets, upgrade
Yeah.
the ship, or upgrade the company. I think there's lots of places they can go, and they can have a whole trilogy, they can just keep it going by keep adding more and more things to it, till eventually you become the number one, and then you got to battle the new, the up and comers.
Exactly. They could be the boss battle.
I mean, it's really like straight up a Metroidvania. I mean, there's so many, there's so many ways they could build upon it.
Stadia app to Thailand. I hope so. Woo.
That would.
But
be
yeah,
great.
my favorite infomercial out of all of them that I've seen is the Flex Limbia.
Yeah, that's what I was just watching. Yeah, that's
going to the elbows and knees.
Absolutely ridiculous.
He's playing
and
hacky
they're
sack.
just smiling and laughing, and it's just like, why would you laugh? And you have no kneecaps and no elbows. Like, why are you
Dude, the
laughing?
side effects at the end, he was like, may cause uncontrollable crunking or clowning. I was like, what? It's like clowning spelled with a K.
We'd have to look up that definition.
That's crazy.
That's like those ICP type.
Yeah.
It's advanced. Yeah.
So Mayne, what was when you first fired it up, your first 10 or 15 minutes, what was your rating? And then what is your rating today now that you dove into it?
So initially I was going to give it I was actually going to give it like a 5 out of 10 clouds, because it just I've played similar games, and when you play a lot of different games, you start to see patterns, and you start to kind of like see the matrix, so to speak. It's like, oh, this is just I know I see this game in it, I see this game in it. It makes it difficult for you to really identify unique things about certain games.
Yep.
But after playing the game and really spending some time with it, I will say I've moved it up to a 7.5.
Nice.
Do you find,
7.5,
Mayne,
yeah.
do you find yourself struggling to be absorbed into that world or whatever sometimes? Because seeing through the curtain, like they want you to suspend that disbelief and actually absorb yourself into the world. Sometimes it's hard to do that.
You know what? That's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because I could see what you mean by that, because there are often times where I did play the game and I wasn't so much immersed in the world. I was just like, okay, what's my next task? It's okay, I'm going here. I see all these platform elements or whatever. It's more like it was more about the goal and not the journey. You know what I mean? It was more like, okay.
See, for me, it was the other way. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem being immersed in it at all. Like, I really got into the whole role play of like, I'm studying this, and I would go around scanning everything and trying to poke all the animals and.
Yeah, I like to look around. I have to do this, great, but I still want to look. What's over here? Oh, can I go over here? What have you thought? Will they let me go off here? Oh, I can't go here. Oh, crap.
Yeah,
okay.
and I think
can I get behind this fence? Oh no, I can't.
Yep.
All right,
and I think that to me, right, in that sense, and again, I know that I've mentioned it earlier, and I know it's not on Stadia, but a game like No Man's Sky kind of ruined that part for me. And I would say because that game has so many elements, the game that, or the approach that people were taking in this game, I did that and then some in that game. So it's like there's planets you can go into, and there's base building. There's all kind of different things in there, right? And so it's like you get a ship, you can fly here and there. So it's like all of that I did there. So when I come to a game like this that reminds me of it, it's just like, okay, I know what this game's about. I know that the delivery is different. I know that the game has more comedic elements. It's a little bit lighthearted, but I understand the gist of it already. So when I get in there, I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is great. Where am I going?
Oh, and one thing I haven't heard brought up is there's a lot of secret areas in the game.
I have noticed that too. I've come across quite a few pings where it says a secret nearby or something like that. I've come across that a lot too.
That's why I like exploring, seeing if there's other little hidden areas they haven't told me about, right? So I don't want to just go and do what my objective is. I want to look around and look behind things and see, because sometimes
that's why they tell you there's a secret nearby, to try to provoke you into exploring.
Yeah, I've seen that quite a bit. I also like scanning everything, getting that data, killing some of the enemies, because sometimes, I don't know, it's interesting watching some of them pop, especially if you kick them and they go flying off of a
they did a great job with the goo.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes,
you get these little gadgets to like throw stuff down to attract enemies, and it's all about resource collection. The narrative to the game is definitely story driven, but it's not linear to where it's like necessarily go here, do this, do that, do this. You can just collect resources and upgrade yourself.
Absolutely.
And go to whatever part of the map you have access to.
Right. Don't mistake my thoughts on it as gospel. You definitely, they do offer that to you. You can approach the game however you want, and that's another thing that I like about it. It's just that for me, that's my approach to it. So that I will say that the options, I'm a man of options. If you don't give me options, I'm out of here. I want to be able to approach things in more ways than one and challenge this. Like you were saying, Jeff, right? You're like, okay, well, I see this fence over here. Can I get behind it? Okay. If I possibly can get behind it, okay, how can I get behind it? And in how many ways can I get behind it? That's the kind of stuff that I like. If you don't provide those options for me, I'm like, if I throw this to test it out to see if it even if the walls or, the invisible walls block it, and I realize, okay, I can't get behind there. Okay, fine.
I could definitely see how if you already played and enjoyed all the hooks in No Man's Sky, that you might feel like you're retreading a little bit of territory here.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I could see that for sure.
Yeah. But
Okay,
still,
William?
it's still a great game, though.
All right,
absolutely.
William, same question. So when you first booted it up, first 10 or 15, because you always get your initial impression.
Yeah.
But then as you play longer, it may change positively or negatively. What was your initial score? What's your score now?
I'm not going to give it a final review because I haven't finished the game. I've only got like 4 hours in.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it justice if I did that, but I will say this. When I turned it on, it was a 7. And as I started to laugh and run around and actually start shooting stuff, because it takes a second for you to get your weapon, it went up to an 8 for me. I really, humor goes a long way for me.
Yep.
And I like the fact that I'm not forced to do what they're telling me to do. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So I would just strongly recommend everybody that go claim this if you can still claim it on Pro. It may have left, but if you do have it in your backlog, fire it up and check it out, because I am actually going to finish this. You can check out my profile here in about 2 weeks. It'll say completed, I'm sure. Check it out, guys. It's worth playing, and you're not gonna risk anything if you have Pro and you've already claimed it anyway. Fire it up, give it a shot. It is fun.
Absolutely, give it a go. Absolutely, people, try this one out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason it was part of SG&E when it was around. Like, it's clean. They did a good job. But yeah, as far as my review on it, I give it an 8.
Yeah,
I give it an 8 because I would give it a 9, but they're not around to tweak and fix any problems that there are in the game, so I'm gonna give it an 8. But when I show somebody Stadia, I usually fire up Doom Eternal, right? And but if their reaction is, oh, that looks good, but that game's too hard for me, this is the game I show them.
Interesting.
I hear that. Doom is so fast and smooth
on
absolutely. Stadia. I can totally see why that would be a benchmark to say, hey, come check this out. You know?
My benchmark game is Red Dead.
Ooh,
that's a good one too.
And now a little bit of Centipede, especially when people complain about the lag. Right. And so especially if I'm not at home and I'm just running over the crappy Rogers 5G, I'll fire it up and I'll play it, and I'll be like, lots of lag, and that you would notice if there was lag in Centipede.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right? Any little particle can kill you. So yeah, you would definitely notice. Right. Jeff, what is your thought? Same question to you.
Yeah. I gave it an 8. I think if I and it's been so, I'll have to go back. I think I streamed it a couple of times. I think one of my early streams I was playing this game. I loved it. I like I said, I was a little confused with the ship. But that's just me. I'm old and dumb. So, but once I got out of the ship and once I started running around, I loved the scanning. I was scanning everything. Just can I scan this? Oh, I can't scan this. All right, well, whatever. So I was just sort of scanning everything. I love the weird objects and things like that. So I gave it an 8, and even diving back into it over the last couple of weeks, still an 8 for me. It would be a 9 if the game was still being changed, if there was more things, more DLCs being added, more stuff, it would then bump up to a 9 for me. But it's a solid,
because there's still some places where there's like frame stutters and stuff where they could go in and fix it,
optimize it,
optimize it, but it's never going to happen.
And the Stadia technology has changed a little bit since
it has
2021, right?
Yeah.
So there is definitely some optimization they could probably do. There's a bunch of little things. If it's true, if what you say, if their developers are back and if they have some funding to make some changes, then maybe they won't make a new version, but maybe they'll add more DLCs. Maybe make it. They don't have.
Yeah, but even with all that said, like I said earlier, this is a game I show people what I'm showing them what Stadia can do, and
never thought of that.
It's a beautiful game.
I never thought of that. Yeah, they don't have to make a new game and charge us $70 for a new game every year, and when all they're doing is just making small roster updates, they could just have the same game and just charge us a little bit more, or do whatever else, but buy the DLC, or buy this and just kind of keep it going. Okay, now new DLC, new planet, have new planets that you can then fly over to as part of the deal. There's lots of things they could do, right? They don't have to have a version, Journey 2, Journey 3, Journey 4, and charge us $70 every year for the same game.
Yeah, charging for the journey.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just. But it was a solid 8 for me when I played it early on back in January of 21. It was a pro game. That's a game I would actually purchase. I don't purchase a lot of games, as you guys know, but that would have been a game I would have purchased. I would have sunk my teeth in and said, let's buy this one and let's get in there. It is in my backlog of shame. So I actually kind of forgot about it until you guys said, let's review that one. And I was like, I don't remember this game. And as soon as I fired it up, like, oh, yeah!
I keep saying it, man. I'm playing through Metro Exodus now, which scared the crap out of me the last time I streamed it, man. There's some jump scares in that game.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I missed your stream. I got to go back and watch it.
But Metro Exodus I'm trying to get through. But I've got Control yet. Life is Strange 1 and 2. Now I've got Sekiro, thanks to Mayne, and I'm going to start that one as well.
That's going to take forever.
Judgment. I bought Judgment. Haven't ever turned it on. Haven't never turned it on.
You bought Control and haven't played it yet, have you?
What's that?
Control? Didn't you buy Control?
No. Yeah, I have Control, and I got it through Pro. Google was gracious enough to give it to me on Pro, but I have turned it on, but I haven't played it at all. I was checking it out on the Samsung Gaming Hub between Luna and the Stadia app. I was just jumping back and forth, there's so many games, man. Google Stadia has the rest of my time occupied, apparently.
Skull and Bones is coming. I know you can't wait for that one. I think that's gonna, take up all of your time once that comes out.
Yeah, excited for Skull and Bones, the new Saints Row game that's gonna drop.
Oh man,
so excited for what's on the horizon.
New Atari game, and they hinted that there's going to be other announcements in September.
Yeah, Yar's Revenge Recharged or something. Or
Yar's Revenge Recharged.
Something like that. I got it wrong.
They're recharging all of them.
Yeah,
right.
They are. But if Centipede is anything to go on, man, that's going to be one to look out for on those leaderboards and stuff. Because Centipede was a fantastic addition to the Pro library.
Yep. All right. So basically, it was an 8 for basically everybody.
I would say that. Yeah, I would say that. I would give it that.
Basically an 8 if we average out all more or less the scores.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I would say that would be a solid rating for it.
In the chat, what is your scores? I see Cloud Gaming Dad, Sierra.
For those who played it,
yeah, for you, those who've played it, and if you haven't played it, make sure you tweet Stadia Dosage after you played it and tell us what your score is. I'd love to know. If anyone in the chat. I think I saw Nerds World in there.
Yeah, and if any of you guys have tried the multiplayer component, drop us some information, man. Let us know how you enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, maybe we need to do a multiplayer stream.
Again, I'm down with that. We have what? So it's now a stream of this, and then what? Outriders also. Still, we got. So Destiny 2 also. So I'm ready.
We're creating a backlog.
Because it's still in his backlog of shame.
Oh, the backlog of shame.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Crushes the old spirit.
By the way, a call back to last week's episode. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Spiritfarer is on sale right now. So that's another one. Yeah, that's another game that we had a lot of high praise for everybody. So if you
if you haven't seen that review, go check that out.
But yeah, the game is actually on sale right now. I'm really considering that one. Really considering that one.
Yeah, let me know what you decide, Mayne.
Okay.
Because if you do, then I won't.
Right.
And what did we figure out? It had like 65 hours of gameplay or something.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, 45 to 60 hours of gameplay for that one.
Man, that's a lot.
Nerd World says it's the same. It was his first game that he played on Stadia. So
nice.
World, what's your rank? Do you remember a score?
He said same.
Oh, same.
Oh, 8. Okay.
Right. Oh,
yep,
okay.
About 8. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
I like that.
I haven't met anybody who doesn't seem to like the game. It seems like everybody.
Well, it's so charming, man. I mean, as soon as
all those fart jokes.
You have a guy directly talking to you, and he's a goofball. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, all those fart jokes. It's right up my alley, man.
Mine too.
Okay. Well, there you go. Yes, so that would be So I think everyone agrees that, we don't know Purple and Ray's score. Do we have Purple's score in a review? Do we know what she gave it? Mayne?
I don't believe we do yet. I'm not sure if due to other circumstances, more than likely her schedule, how that worked out. Yeah. But we can reach out to her and get some more info on that. But yeah, I think that I don't think that she'll have too far off a rating as we all did either.
Well, Ray, if you are in the chat, sir, and you're up for it, why don't you give us your score if you could throw it in there?
There was a
big... there it is.
7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Solid.
Right on.
Solid.
Okay. So Patrick says there was a big save game bug when Journey to the Planet first came out. I do not remember that.
Ooh.
They must have taken care of that ASAP.
Yeah, that's interesting. I imagine they did fix that.
One thing,
because I haven't had any issue.
Yeah, I will say that to chime in a little bit, of course, a little bit later than you guys did, but the effects as far as the liquid and like the goop and all like the I guess you could call it blood or whatever, they did a really good job of making it like really interesting. To me, it's one of the highlights of the game in a lot of ways because
the way it explodes,
all over the place. It's the blobs and everything like that. It's really interesting how they put emphasis on that, and then it's like I laugh at it because I'm looking at the blood and how animated they got the blood, and then I look over at the lava, and it's just like standard.
You could see where they put their effort in.
Right. Another thing that I actually like was a great callback to and I didn't mention this earlier, but a great callback to games that we all more than likely grew up playing, games like Spyro, games like Crash Bandicoot. You actually can see the world in the distance. You can see certain items, you can see certain relics, you can see certain flora and fauna that you can collect off in the distance. It's not too far away. It's far enough to where you can see it in the distance, but it's close enough to where the game can say, hey, at some point you're gonna go here. And I like that. That's another thing I really enjoyed about the game.
That's something.
Yeah, the level design is awesome.
That's something I loved about Skyrim, was that you could look and go, oh, I'm going to climb that mountain.
Yeah.
Sure, you can go climb that mountain.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
You know what? Shout out to the art teams. Everyone talks about certain groups of people, but nobody ever talks about the art team. I remember watching a year or two ago a video of a young lady who worked for Ubisoft Montreal, and she was on the art team, and one of her jobs was just to put in little Easter eggs, little things in the game that nobody knows they're there, but if you stumble across it, right? Yeah. Just weird little stuff. That was her job, was to put, little stuff in, and they interviewed her and they talked about what she did and she gave a few hints and things like that, right? But the art team, the art designers, I know Purple has interviewed the writers of games, right? Those people, it starts there. right? You know,
Correct.
the guys like me who hack the code. Well, we have to look at the story frame. We have to get the story, right?
You know,
Somebody's
this is a
whenever
little off topic, but I would love to see or love to interview like some of the game devs that do the art inside of the levels, the level design. And the reason I say that is because sometimes there is no like narrative story to follow in the location, but when you walk in, there's a dead body there. There's other items over there. You can kind of piece together what happened. I would love to talk to a dev that has gone in and wrote something like that. Like all the crypts in Skyrim, there's no narrative inside, but if you pay attention, there is a narrative inside, but you got to uncover it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Walls have artwork.
Yeah,
and other things going on of just what. You know, that's one thing I liked about Red Dead. If you accidentally fall, like the little rocks crumble around you.
Yes, the little details.
All those little kind of little. That's why Red Dead is when I want to show people Stadia, I show them that one because there's just all those little tiny little things.
I think it's just really interesting how, I mean, you mentioned that as far as the narrative, and I think that I agree with that. However, you have to sometimes take a step back and look at it objectively, and sometimes, like, while we may appreciate that, someone else may not understand that type of storytelling.
Correct.
And they'll be like, hey, I went into this crypt and I saw this casket or this grave with a helmet or a mask. I have no idea what the hell it's from. Even if you see the name of the guy on the wall, they don't draw that parallel. So they, of course, because of how they learn and do things. So I think that there's also that instance as well. But I do appreciate games that somehow seem to find ways to mix both if they can.
Yes.
And I think that there's a lot of games that do that well. But yeah, this is when it comes down to narrative and telling stories like that. It's like I love a game that doesn't tell me anything, like a game like Journey or a game like a game like this, Journey to the Savage Planet, in a lot of ways that throws those things out there where you kind of like they nudge you in certain areas and directions. I prefer that. But other people may be like, well, where the hell am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do?
Cloud Gaming Dad brings up a great game, Red Dead Redemption 2. It has an extremely open world, but at the same time, they hold your hand long enough to get you familiar with the game before they kind of open the floodgates and say, all right, go mess around.
Right. Absolutely. And I appreciate that too, which is why for me, one of my go-to games to show. And of course, there's also ways you can force that in a lot of ways because of HUDs and things like that. For me, we on a topic of not too long ago about our go-to game that we showcased on Stadia. Mine is Cyberpunk. Because for one, it's my favorite genre and or setting, and two, because it's my favorite game, and I'm going to show you that game. You're just going to watch it. You're going to like it. But
plus it had a lot of problems on other platforms.
It did,
and I think even PlayStation was refunding people.
Oh yeah.
Because the game just did not meet expectations, and so they were refunding people.
Thankfully, my favorite game, Baldur's Gate 3, it had a great release on Stadia because Steam had an issue to where either you couldn't download the game or reset, and you had to re-download the game. And
I ran into that a couple times.
And a big time streamer, Wolfheart, he was going to stream and he was like, oh, hey guys, I got to download it again. He's like, hey, let's try Stadia. Sure enough, he got right in, was able to start playing. And
isn't that where he plays at the moment? That's where he's playing that game or streaming that exclusively on Stadia right now?
He does both.
Okay.
But yeah, that day though, everybody was like, it's not going to work in the chat and everything. And then I think that persuaded a bunch of people to actually check it out because they could flip over and start playing immediately. No download, none of that stuff. So
as far as the narrative thing though, to go back to Cyberpunk, I think there's a lot of games where some games like RPGs like that game and another CD Projekt Red game, the Witcher 3, right? They have so many different things you can do with so many ways that you can play the game and how they tell you what to do and what's next because it's an RPG. But I think for me, to go into like the options part of it is they say, hey, if you want, take off all of this stuff. You can get rid of all the markers. You can get rid of all the things. If you just want to explore the world and stumble upon that stuff on your own, go for it. But you have that option. I appreciate that. So there's two different ways you can approach the narrative to cater to different people who may learn or may grasp or understand narratives differently.
so much trouble to get into in Night City. Beautiful.
Oh
trouble.
man. Oh man.
Yep. We may that may be a future review. Who knows?
No spoilers, but I lost my mind when I picked up the talking gun. I was like, "What?" Yep.
All right, we're gonna start to wrap this up. LoFi, any final thoughts
sir.
on the game?
No, man.
Period.
I would say if you haven't tried it, you need to go try it. It's a really good game.
And when you do try it, if you haven't, tweet us all. Let us know your thoughts. Send us
Yeah.
Tweet us. Tweet Stadia Dosage. Tell us your review. Tell us what you thought. And if you didn't like it, let's talk about it.
And send us a picture of you playing the game, doing a big thumbs up.
Or thumbs down if you don't.
Or thumbs down, correct. Yeah, give us your rating right then and there.
There you go. William, any final thoughts on the game before we wrap this up?
Just that it's incredibly humorous and it is fun. It may not be up your alley, but hey, it's on Pro. You got nothing to lose. Check it out. I think you may end up approving and playing through it. I know I'm going to. You got nothing to lose, guys. Check it out.
There you go. Mayne?
My thing is enjoy, just check it out, enjoy the game. I think you're gonna really have a good time. If it's one of those things that you want to be able to, let's say you're pressed for time, or maybe you have the time, right? You can approach this game however you want, and I think that now more than ever that's important, especially to people like me, who's a lot of people who are always out and about or have not as much time as we used to. It's a great game to be able to jump in and put however much time you get, right? You get back what you put in, and this is a great example of that. And I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised. Just give it a try, stick with it a little bit, and give it kind of like my equivalent of like I do with shows, a 3-episode rule. Just I watch 3 episodes to see if it hooks me, and if I have my decision by then, I know what I'm doing. Stick with it for a little while. Give yourself a timer. And you say, hey, okay, in this amount of time, I'm going to play this game. And whatever I feel after this timer is up, then that's what I'm going to do. Or that's what I decide. And I think that give it that try and go for it.
I have one question real quick. How long does it take for you to get that backpack? Because that looks amazing and I want it.
Well, wait a minute. That's how long does it take? Anybody know?
I don't know.
I know you have to build it because you have to collect resources and then it helps you get to a new area. Yeah.
I don't have the backpack yet.
Well, William, when you play through it and you get there, make sure you tell us how long.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
How long?
Because in the trailer, watching that guy jump and then miss, I was like,
oh yeah,
I gotta have that thing, man. I gotta have it. Don't tell me I already have it and I'm just not hitting the button.
You might.
No, it's an upgrade. You might have it. Because it's one of the first.
Now William's going to be running to the game right now.
The double jump. Because it can't be a Metroidvania without the double jump, man.
True.
That's true, man.
That's true. I would like to drop this in really quick. I know this part will live on in the videos. I just want to say to Purple and Ray, we miss you guys.
Yep.
Hope to see you in the next show. And Ray, get well, kick COVID's ass. You know what I'm saying? And Purple, hope that you work out those difficulties because we miss both you guys. But hope to see you guys next show.
Purple's issues are technical.
Perp wanted to be here.
Purple's are technical.
Purely technical.
Purely technical.
Yeah.
Yeah, purely technical. Sometimes technology is just not your friend.
Yeah.
Let's not go
Update
there.
those bios.
Exactly.
It's our Google overlord,
right?
or Embracer Group, I guess.
Skynet.
No, Embracer Group is now, I think, our big overlord. They're buying everything, so I think Embracer Group is our new all hail our. I'm playing on their good side. I tweeted out, all hail our new overlord. LoFi, thank you for being here today. William, Stadia Pro Gaming. Links to all of our stuff, all the panel members, all our socials. Make sure you check out his review. I'm pointing that way. Check out.
Yes, that will be up very shortly.
And comment. We want comments, so make sure you comment your rating in there. To do that, don't forget, coming up on check out StadiaDosage.com so you can find out what's going on with the community championships. I heard a rumor that one of us may be commentating those finals, but I'm not going to say who. It was a rumor.
I don't know. I don't know who that could be.
I don't know either, but that make sure. Stadia 1000, there was 28, 30. I don't know, it just seemed to start early and go late. I don't know how many there were in total, but make sure you check out all the streams. I know I checked out as many as I could. The ones I didn't see live, I went back and rewatched. William and I had a great double stream of Wreckfest, as we do every Monday.
All the awesome. 1,000 days of Stadia was so much fun.
Whoa, Perp.
And it was amazing for the community and for the gaming community in a whole. I want to thank all of the content creators and for all of the organizers. Yes. You guys did an amazing job, and it was so much fun. I can't wait to do it again, guys.
Can't wait. Purple's in the chat. Quickly, what is your rating of the game out of 10 clouds? Purple, if you can hear me, if you're still there, if you can type before we end off. Don't forget to go to PNTSN. I have to say that very slowly or I'll get it wrong. PNTSnetwork.com for all of the articles, all of the links. Make sure you follow along. Everything is in the description that you're going to need. I'm going to stall for a second or two to see if... Oh, she gave it a 7.
Hey,
there
man.
You go. There you go.
I think that still averages about out to 8 because Ray was 7 as well.
Yep. So we're probably at 7.5. Probably 7.
I'm doing math wrong.
You are doing math wrong. A couple of 7s and a couple of 8s does not average out.
As long as it isn't Steiner math, we're good. But I was waiting for her to go like the lady in SpongeBob. Oh, chocolate. I remember when they invented chocolate. I hated it.
There we go. Excellent. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to the co-hosts. Thank you to me. Thank you to everybody. And that is it. We are done. Have a great Saturday, everybody. We will be back in 2 weeks for another episode of the Cloudy Game Review.
Yes, we'll be back in a fortnight, y'all.
Ooh. LoFi, play that ending.
Peace.
Got a weak LoFi up.
Up to the button.
Push the button.